India has long been the target of invaders seeking to plunder the subcontinent's riches, its northwestern borders serving as a highway for many a Central Asian warlord. Those invaders had different goals and got different results, some of them conquering, some just looted and retreated, some were rebuked, but never before had India faced someone like Timur, the man who wasn't from the line of Genghis, but probably was the Great Khan's worthiest successor. Shout out to Blinkist for sponsoring this video. We live in a fast-paced world and often it's difficult to find the time to learn new stuff. Our work and social life take most of our times, while social media is addicting, so it's natural to think that you don't have enough time to read a book. Yet developing yourself is crucial for every facet of our lives. To fix that, we recommend the app called Blinkist. This is a unique app that takes the most important insights, new developments and know-how from thousands of non-fiction books, condensing them into a 15-minute long read or listen. As we have to work almost 24/7 to produce our videos, Blinkist is essential for our personal growth. If you're interested in the history of the Mongols, you'll love Jack Weatherford's Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World, which describes the civilizational importance of the Mongol Empire, and The Silk Roads by Peter Frankopan, which talks about the creation of the trade network across Asia. The first 100 people to go to blinkist.com/kingsandgenerals are going to get unlimited access for 1 week to try it out. You'll also get 25% off if you want the full membership. After crushing Toktamish and razing the cities of the Golden Horde, Timur returned to Samarkand in 1396, where he detained ambassadors from the Ming dynasty and welcomed a pretender to the throne of the Northern Yuan. By then, rumour had reached Timur of the weakness within the Delhi Sultanate. As we covered in a previous video, the Delhi Sultans, especially Alauddin Khalji, had successfully repelled repeated Mongolian attacks in the later 13th and early 14th centuries. On Alauddin's death in 1316, he was succeeded by a young son, with his vizier Malik Kafur acting as regent. Kafur was quickly murdered, and Alauddin's son deposed by a brother, Mubarak Shah. Mubarak Shah ruled for only 4 years before he was murdered by his vizier in 1320, ending Delhi's Khalji dynasty. The usurper was quickly overthrown by one of Alauddin Khalji's generals, Ghiyas al-Din Tughlaq. Sources of the period indicate Ghiyas al-Din was of nomadic background, possibly Mongol or Negaderi, who had entered the Sultanate during the reign of Alauddin Khalji's uncle. The long reigns of his successors, Muhammad Tughlaq and Firuz Shah, were stable, but saw the slow decline of Delhi's power, and permanent losses of Bengal and of the Deccan. The end of Firuz Shah's reign in particular saw the emergence of new factions when illness incapacitated him in his final years, such as his small army of slaves and a scheming vizier who tried to turn the Sultan against his only surviving son, Prince Muhammad. After Firuz Shah's death in 1388, the Delhi court exploded into political infighting. Firuz Shah's grandson was killed a few months after becoming Sultan, and another grandson was appointed in his stead. Prince Muhammad made 3 attempts to take the capital before finally gaining entry, killing his father's slaves and expelling the reigning Sultan in late 1390. For all his efforts, Muhammad died 4 years later in January 1394. His son Humayun followed him to the throne, and then to the grave in March, in turn succeeded by Humayun's 10-year-old brother Mahmud Shah. His ascension was countered by rival nobles installing their own sultan in Firuzabad later that year. 2 brothers emerged as the lead figures of the Sultanate during Mahmud Shah's reign, Sarang Khan and his brother Malu Iqbal Khan, who fought against the other power brokers for control of the Sultanate and the 2 sultans. Throughout this decade of political conflict, from 1388 until 1398, the power of the Delhi Sultan declined precipitously. The young sultans were essentially puppets, their influence barely extending beyond the walls of Delhi and Firuzabad. While lords across India still maintained nominal allegiance, they achieved de facto independence in this vacuum of central authority. In 1398, Malu Iqbal Khan swept away his rivals and secured his hold on Delhi and Mahmud Shah. While Timur claimed he invaded India to punish idolaters, his actual intent was little more than to loot the decaying sultanate. One of Timur's grandsons, Pir Muhammad, was given territory on the borders of Punjab and was encouraged to raid. In December 1397, Pir Muhammad invaded, defeating Malu Iqbal's brother and investing Multan. The city was stoutly defended, and Pir Muhammad requested aid from his grandfather. Only too eager to comply, Timur left Samarkand in March 1398 with perhaps 92,000 men, largely Turkic troops, crossing the Indus River in September, where he split his army in two, with a large force under Amir Suleiman reinforcing Pir Muhammad, while Timur proceeded to Depolpur. As Timur marched through India, local rulers submitted to him. Cities and villages were sacked as he marched, and in late October, Pir Muhammad reunited with his grandfather. Depolpur had submitted to Pir Muhammad's forces, but rose up, killed their appointed governor, and abandoned the town before taking refuge in the fortress of Batnir. Timur sent the main force under Amir Shah Malik and Daulat Timur Towachi towards Delhi, while Timur took 10,000 horsemen to punish those within Batnir. Considered impregnable, Batnir was a Rajput stronghold commanded by Rao Daljit, giving shelter to Hindu and Muslim alike fleeing the conqueror. Timur's sudden arrival in early November surprised them, and Timur massacred everyone outside the gates. Ladders were assembled, and Timur's men took the outer walls. Despite fierce resistance, Rao Daljit knew they lacked the defenders to stall Timur and sent an envoy to discuss terms. Timur withdrew his forces, and on the 8th of November, Timur gladly took Daljit's gifts and his surrender, then ordered the arrest of refugees from Dipalpur, killing 500 of them and enslaving women and children. Rao Daljit's cousin, still within the fortress, closed the gates. For this, Rao Daljit was put to death, and the fortress was once again assaulted. Wives and children were killed by husbands and fathers to prevent them from falling into Timurid hands. The remaining Hindu and Muslim defenders stood side by side against Timur's men. All were killed, and the fortress was destroyed. Timur then continued towards Delhi, sacking, burning and massacring as he went, caring little if the victims were Hindus or Muslims. He reunited with the rest of the army at the Kagar River by the end of November. Timur did not advance directly to Delhi, instead crossing the Jumna River on the 8th of December, taking the forts along the fords of the Jumna to secure his rear and drive more refugees into Delhi, straining the city's resources and filling the population with fear. Timur did not want a long siege of Delhi, desiring a field battle. While scouting out possible sites around the city on the 11th of December with 700 men, Timur was surprised by a sudden attack by Delhi's chief defender, Malu Iqbal. The larger Delhi army forced Timur to retreat, and he had to leave 300 Turks to hold the ground until reinforcements arrived. Malu Iqbal returned to Delhi, but within Timur's camp, the 50,000 prisoners had gotten too excited at the prospects of rescue. Fearing they could become a threat in his rear come the final battle, on December 12th, Timur ordered the massacre of his Indian prisoners. On the 14th, Timur moved into the plains near the hill of Pushti Bihali. Timur chose the ground carefully and made his preparations, and the foe he faced was not his equal. The Sultan barely exercised power beyond Delhi, and in a far cry from the armies of the Khaljis, could raise only 10,000 cavalry, 40,000 infantry, and 125 elephants. No help would be coming for the young Sultan and Malu Iqbal from any corner, and neither could match the experience of Timur and his men. On December 16th, the armies lined up, both in a crescent formation. Timur's right wing was commanded by his grandson Pir Muhammad, while the old conqueror led the centre, and his vanguard was under Prince Rustam. In the Delhi force, Sultan Mahmud and Malu Iqbal were both in the centre, with a line of armoured elephants with poisoned spikes along their tusks before them, with a few grenade throwers mixed among them, and an advance guard of 600 in front to screen them. The young Sultan anticipated his elephants would be the key to his victory, Battle was launched with the beating of war drums. Various divisions of Timur's force advanced, striking all along the Delhi army, trying to draw units into feigned retreats. This also prevented the elephants charging with combined support of the main army. Under cover of the small divisions, the Timurid vanguard moved to the right, then wheeled about and struck the flank of Delhi's advance guard, destroying it. The Timurid right under Pir Muhammad charged the Delhi left, forcing it back. This was repeated by the Timurid left, which forced their opposing wing right to the gates of Delhi. Sultan Mahmud and Malu Iqbal held the centre and were able to charge the Timurid vanguard. Yet they were checked, the Timurids having built essentially large caltrops to injure the elephants. The Delhi centre fought on, surrounded, until evening, when they began to flee in the darkness. Timur pursued them right up to the city gates, but did not want to be caught in a trap in narrow city streets at night and withdrew. In the night, Sultan Mahmud and Malu Iqbal only narrowly escaped Timurid riders, and the next day, Timur accepted the surrender of the remaining notables of Delhi. Timur granted amnesty to the city and had the khutbah read in his name, sending messages of his victory alongside captured elephants across his empire. Initially, only small groups of soldiers were allowed into the city, as guards for leading Timurids wishing to see the city's sights and to collect ransoms. However, quarrels broke out between soldiers and the citizens, and looting began, first on a small scale. The following day, this turned into thousands of soldiers rushing into the city to take what they could, and over the next few days, the city was sacked. Prisoners, precious stones, and fabrics were all carried out of the city. Although Timur insisted he did not order the plunder, when news reached him that people were resisting and were held up within the Jama Masjid, he ordered his generals to kill them on the 21st. The entire city was now left to the depredations of Timur's entire army for the next week, killing and burning whoever was left within. By the time Timur left on the 31st of December 1398, Delhi was left a smouldering ruin. The poor souls who had survived the assault were left with famine and disease, and it would be 15 years before Delhi again had a stable government. Timur had no interest in building an empire in India, and soon news reached him of the expansion of the Ottoman Sultan Bayezid towards Timurid territory. Timur knew a showdown between them was coming, and so do you, so make sure you are subscribed to our channel and have pressed the bell button. We would like to express our gratitude to our Patreon supporters and channel members who make the creation of our videos possible. Now you can also support us by buying our merchandise via the link in the description. This is the Kings and Generals channel, and we will catch you on the next one.